Get connected, Fitchburg. We're launching Fitchburg Connect, the city's new monthly e-newsletter that keeps you informed about all the events, services, and updates that matter to you. Get it in your inbox once a month. Our first edition is live now. Sign up today to get Fitchburg Connect.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
All right, I think we're good to go. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming to the Street Resurfacing Public Information Meeting. Thanks for taking time out of your busy days to be here. This is for the 2026 project. So first we'll start with some introductions. My name is Zach Laundrie. I'm the project engineer for this project. I'm joined by my coworker.
I'm Ross Kaler. I'm the transportation engineer, and I help out on this project at various times.
I'm Tim Volker. I'm the Director of Public Works, City Engineer.
I'm Dave Herbst, District 1 Alder and member on the Board of Public Works.
Bill Jetzer, District 2 Alder, member of the Board of Public Works.
Thank you, Alders, for being here tonight to help us out. So a brief overview of what we're going to talk about tonight. First and foremost, I'm going to talk about what is resurfacing, how we select our roads, and kind of what the road conditions are. Then I'm going to talk about the construction process and dive into the 2026 project. We've got some coordination with other projects that I'll mention, and then we'll open up the floor to questions. So if you have any questions, you can either ask them at the end and Ross will hand you a microphone, or you can fill out that sheet at the front of the room and I will answer via phone or email. So what is resurfacing? Resurfacing is, I would consider it a medium impact construction process. So what we do is we remove the full depth of the asphalt. That's typically 4 to 6 inches. We drive a big truck over it and we replace the soft sections of the gravel underneath. We remove and replace all the damaged curb and gutter. And then we come back, we repave the asphalt in typically 2 layers. Total, this process is about 2 to 6 weeks, and really we don't do any geometric changes with this project, so that means we're not adding any sidewalk, we're not changing any of the way that the streets are laid out. We're basically just taking away the old pavement and putting in some new pavement. Occasionally, we'll remove like splitter islands or raise like traffic splitter islands, but that won't come into effect on any of the residential streets in this project. So road selection criteria. We've got a lot of roads in the city of Fitchburg. We've got about 150 miles of roadway. So there's a bunch of different things that we need to do to choose which roads to resurface. So we look at the condition of the road. How bad is the road? We look at the location of the road. Oftentimes, if it's nearby a street that's getting redone, we'll include it with the project because it helps lower total costs because the contractor is already in the area and they'll already be doing that work. We also look at traffic volume, and we coordinate a ton with other projects. So that can be water main projects, it can be sanitary sewer projects, storm sewer projects, some traffic calming projects, so that's mostly Ross. And we're actually coordinating with the police facilities building across the street as well this year. As far as road condition goes, we use the PACER rating system. It's a 1 to 10 scale. It's a visual assessment. This is a required reporting by WSDOT. So every 2 years, we drive every single road in the city and we rate all the roads in the city. So this is a maintained database on our roadways that really helps drive a lot of the selection criteria for our resurfacing project. On a scale of 1 to 10, PACER rating 3 to 4 is a great candidate for resurfacing. So this is Research Park Drive. This is right outside here. As you can see, the pavement is failing, the base course is damaged. There's a ton of this, we call it block cracking or alligator cracking, where there's just spider webs of ruined pavement. There's some potholes and rutting present. Typically, if there's severe rutting, that's indication of a larger change that would need more work than a resurfacing project. But some minor potholes and rutting is very common for these roads. But there's no other major issues, like we don't want to add a roundabout, we don't want to make any other changes, we just want new pavement. So that's the roads that we resurface. Generally, this is how the streets work out. So we put out notifications by door hanger. That's the main way we're going to contact you during the project because of how fast the construction moves. Really the only way to get you timely notification is by door hangers. First, they'll come through and they'll do all the curb and gutter on a street. So that usually takes a week or two. They'll come in, remove all the old damaged curb and gutter, which we have marked, and then pour new curb and gutter, let that cure. During that time, they'll do the removal of the street itself. So they'll come through, they'll take a big milling machine and remove all the pavement that's there. They'll fix the grading, so that's the slope of the road. And then they'll also adjust all the utilities, so all those manholes and water valve boxes out there, they'll adjust those. After that's done, they'll pave. Like I said earlier, we do it in 2 layers on most of these streets. So first they pave the base course, and then they come through and do the surface course. Importantly, after that surface course is the only time that we're really going to stop access to these roads. It takes about an hour or 2 for the road surface to set up. And that asphalt to like flash over and you to drive over it the first time and not leave any marks. So we'll let you guys know when the surface pavement is coming. It takes longer if it's a really hot day out. It's pretty quick. It can be as quick as 30 minutes if it's a cooler day when they're paving. And then after everything else is done, they'll finalize restoration, make sure everything else is cleaned up. So the total time between when the road is removed and when there's new pavement is typically about 1 to 2 weeks. That's very weather dependent. Rain, as we've experienced recently, rain really puts a damper on this project because they have to go back and clean everything up. Then they have to redo all the work to grade and get all the gravel correct. So fingers crossed for no rain as they're working on each street. So let's dive into the 2026 project. Here's an overview map. It's pretty small, but it is posted on our website. In total, it's about 2.5 miles of road. We're doing about 0.4 miles of path, that's multi-use path, and we're actually doing a basketball court as well as part of this project. We like to put all of our asphalt projects together because that gives us better pricing from the contractors. So here's the Hillside Heights neighborhood. This is a rural neighborhood off of Fish Hatchery Road. We're doing every street in the neighborhood. So if you live on one of these streets, you're definitely included in this project. Like I said, we'll be redoing all the roads here. Moving north, we've got our park projects. We've got a path in Chicory Meadows Park. We've got a stretch along Fish Hatchery we're doing, and we are doing the Clayton Park basketball court. That's a little half basketball court. We're also doing a couple dead ends and oddball streets up in the corner of the city. That's the northwest corner. We got Petersburg Circle and Specht Drive. And then I'll talk about the coordination with the other projects. So the other projects that are going on, we've got water and storm projects that we have to coordinate with. When they redo the streets or when they redo the water main on a street, they really tear up the road. So what we like to do is we have them tear up the road and fix all the stuff that they need to fix, and then we come through right away and pave afterwards. So we've got a bunch of different streets here that have some coordination that we'll be working on. First, I'll talk about some holdovers from the 2025 project. So if you're watching this from 2025, it's the same information as last year. Crescent Road has some water and storm work going on. Sentinel Pass has some water work. And then Aztec Trail, we got to get the street done. So those 3 projects that's up in the Belmar neighborhood will have some coordination work. And then I'm going to jump over to the 2026 water projects. So that's Lyman Lane, Floran Drive, Tower Hill Drive, and Barbara Drive. All of those streets will have water main work that goes on and is completed before our contractor comes through to do the street. We really try to keep that timeline between when the water project is done and when our project starts as small as possible to keep the disruption as minimal as possible. Not all these streets here are getting water main. Barbara Drive, this is Barber Drive west of Richardson is not getting any water main done, and Eugene Court is not getting any water main done. Merlin Street is also just the street, and then outside here, Research Park Drive is just the street. So as far as the overall project goes, the contractor is looking to start in late May. Payne and Dolan is the contractor on this project, and the contract has been awarded. There's a lot of phasing going around that utility work, so that's going to be the main factor on the timeline. But they'll work throughout the summer. 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday are the typical working hours for this project. They rarely work on Saturdays, and they usually don't work past about 5 p.m. But if they need to catch up on stuff, they will work later hours. The utility work is contracted to be complete by September, and the asphalt is contracted to be complete by October. But keep in mind that each street is only about 2 to 6 weeks total. So even though the total project timeline is rather long, the disruption on anybody's house should be pretty quick. And we'll notify you primarily through door hanger about any of these new constructions coming through your way. At this point, Ross is going to go around and grab any questions that we may have. I've got a QR code here for our website. The website has all this information spelled out. It has updates that I post on a weekly basis on how the construction's going. And then it also has a link to a Notify Me site where you can get text alerts for when I update the website. If you want to email or call me, that also works if you have any questions. So thanks, everyone. Ross, I guess, does anybody have any questions?
Okay. For the water main work, I don't know how much you know about that. Is that water main work going to be confined to the street itself, or is it going to go into people's yards also?
My understanding about the water main projects, so Chelsea Wilson, who I have listed here, is your main contact for those, but they will need to connect the water service, or at least start the water service coming from the street towards your house. So they'll take up some curb, and there will be some grass area behind the curb that will be disturbed by that. If you have specific questions on like where your water service is going to come in, that kind of stuff, reach out to Chelsea at the email listed here.
Okay. Yeah, I know where it's coming in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will dig it up between where it meets the street and where it ends at the curb stop. So that curb comes out, and then they have to go down and make all those connections.
What can you give me a sense of how much lead time we'll have about water mine? We live on Barber Drive. Not sure which direction we're going, or do you have any indication of that?
My understanding is we usually give at least 48 hours of notice, but any questions about the water main project, you really got to go through Chelsea. That's work that's done before the work that I'm working on, and I don't have too many details on that.
Yeah, as far as the water shut off, you guys would get notified by an orange door hanger. The letters for the utility work, actually, I believe, were mailed out yesterday, so you should be getting another letter kind of explaining the process of the utility work. And then for that project, the utilities will be having a public information meeting 2 weeks from tonight, and that's also in the letter. And Chelsea and Ben will also be at that meeting. So we can kind of go more over the utility work process at that meeting. If you can't make the meeting, feel free to reach out to us, and we can go kind of more in detail about that, specifically at your residence.
Just the other quick, somewhat unrelated question, but it's about the communication. I'm sitting next to my neighbor. I talked to my neighbor across the street. Neither of them received the postcard that I received about this meeting. So I don't know, and it just says occupant and my address. I would have assumed it would have gone to everybody.
Yeah, we pull those off of the map, so I'm sorry that it didn't get to your neighbors. I can double check. Let me write down your address.
Well, anyway, I just thought I'd point it out that for whatever reason, it didn't seem to get to at least a couple of folks near me.
Sure. How many postcards did we mail out for the research?
I'd have to check. It's like 300 to 500 that we
Yeah,
send out.
and
So
it happens from time to time where it doesn't hit every resident that we do mail it out to. But if you can give us your address, we'll make sure that future notifications.
Well, I'm at 5670 Barber
Okay.
Drive.
5666.
5666
And
didn't
then
get it.
Directly across
Sure.
is probably 65. I'm not sure what my other neighbor's address. Anyway, I was just wanted to point out that it looked as though those cards would have gone to everybody.
yeah, they were
Absolutely.
Based on how
intended
they
to.
were addressed. But I don't know if others had that issue or not. Anyway.
Okay.
Address and house numbers are all on the map, so it's very easy. We shouldn't have to tell you what they are. They're on your map.
Yeah. Our intent was to obviously get them out to everyone within the project limits. So if they didn't get to you, we apologize for that.
And that's also why we notify via the postcards and the door hangers later on, because you really can't miss a house with the door hangers.
So another meeting though about utilities in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. Yep. It'll be Thursday, May 14th, and I believe that meeting is at 6:30. But it'll be in the letter.
I'll look for it. I'll look for the letter. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And my main question was regarding the water project. And it was maybe a month ago or so, I was looking online and I actually saw Chelsea's email address. So I contacted her to find out some information about the project. And she was very responsive. Actually sent me a map of the area of my street. And on that map, it showed the location of the water main shutoff, which I immediately responded back to her that that is not the location, that the location shown on the map is actually the gas shutoff location. So there was some back and forth, and I don't know, you probably don't have a map available today then. It will be in the next meeting where I can just kind of verify that the location of my water shutoff valve has been changed. And Chelsea was going to revise the map before sending it back out to the contractor because the map showed that my driveway concrete apron would have to be redone. Well, that's not the case at all. My water shutoff valve is 20 feet down from my driveway. So I was just wanting to verify that the map has been updated to show the correct location of my water main. And talking with my neighbor, potentially there could be a mistake in where his water main shutoff valve is. I guess we're not really sure. Your water and gas are fairly close together.
Almost right next to each other, so it's hard to tell. But
Yeah, and we can check with Chelsea tomorrow to make sure that change got made. And yeah, it happens where on drawings it's shown in one location and we'll get out in the field and dig it up and it's not there, or we'll come across something different. So it's not something that we're not used to seeing. We can field adjust stuff out in the field. Like with the gas main, that's something that probably would have been caught prior to ripping up your driveway, because we do locate, the contractor is responsible for locating all the utilities prior to digging it up. So it probably would have been most likely caught at that time, and then we just would have did a field adjustment. But we'll confirm with Chelsea tomorrow, and we can reach out to you to confirm that change did get made.
Yeah, it's a real simple. I mean, it says gas right on the metal valve cover. It says gas. So whoever came up with that location to begin with did it in haste. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we live at the corner of Tower Hill and Barbara, and going across from from Barbara, I guess, from one side crossing over Tower Hill and then coming up on the other side, there's like a cement gutter that runs through, like they really weren't going to build a road there but decided to do it. Is that going to be covered up?
So that That flow line, the reason why those are installed is because typically the roadways are crowned. So that means there's a big hump as you go over them. And those concrete gutters are used to help continue the water flow across an intersection, because otherwise it would get caught in the corner, because there would be, it's hard to explain, but there'd be two humps and basically there wouldn't be anywhere for the water to go. We are replacing that with a new gutter in this project, so it will be there after we are done.
Okay, all right. My other question is, the other day, I'm assuming it was someone up from Fitchburg Department that put an orange cone kind of in the street close to the intersection, and
Yeah.
it looked like a water main or something sunk, and there's probably about 7 to 8 inches hole that's probably 6 inches in diameter, and it goes down about 8 inches. And I thought, oh, good, they covered that up. But I noticed today it's gone, and I don't know if maybe, some kids took it and moved it or whatever. But I know there's lots of little kids in the neighborhood that ride their bikes through, and I would really hate for one of them to be riding their bike and have a problem, an accident from it. So I don't know if there's anything you could do that would be more stable if it's going to be a while.
We were notified of that a couple days ago, and I talked to the streets crew about it. I'll circle back and make sure that it's a safe spot. But the streets crew did get notified of that location, and they had stopped out there. So maybe somebody, like you said, moved that cone or whatever. Yeah, I'll check in on that tomorrow.
Did it look like the repair got made? Do you know, or because the hole's still? Okay, sure, perfect. All right.
The hole has been there for months.
Okay.
Okay. That's a good reminder that if you see any other spots like this, not in our project area, we have we have close to 150 miles of road. So if you see any stuff around the city that looks like it could be a hazard, please let us know. Just reach out and we'll send somebody out to take a look right away.
Zach, do you want to pull up fitchburgwi.gov and show them the report of concern function?
I guess I wasn't familiar with it.
While he's pulling that up, you can ask.
So speaking of the water going down, I noticed this winter quite a bit walking the dog. You're going down Barbara Drive. Are you doing anything to help with the water flow on the side? Because you had a lot of ice issues going across.
Yeah, so with resurfacing, we're able to more effectively, channel that water down the gutters. We get to fix all the gutters that have tipping issues. So we should see some improvements on the stormwater functions of this project. I pulled up this, it's not on the screen. Let's try this. So I've pulled up there's a spot on our website. You just go to fitchburgwi.gov. On the left side, bottom left, it says concerns. Here's a concern form that you can just drop in about anything on the streets, or you can give the front desk a call. That's 270-4200, and they will direct you to the right place. Honestly, I prefer the phone calls. It's a lot easier to get the correct information rather than trying to send emails back and forth. Any last questions? All right, thank you, everyone. Thanks for attending the meeting, and it sounds like everyone's really excited about the water service project. So that one will go well, and I hope to see you guys at that meeting as well in 2 weeks. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.